All right, so we have Nancy's image here. And the light that you're using is kind of open shade light, it looks like. So the light's coming across her face and creating quite a bit of dimension. It's really nice light that you're using. The composition, you got low, you're photographing the child and looking up at the child a little bit. And I always think that's such an interesting perspective. It just gives us a different point of view on children than we normally see. So I think that's a fun perspective. Now I'd probably pull back a little bit so we could see more of what's going on here. We don't know what she's doing, what's she's looking up at, why she's crossing her fingers, where she is. And that story will start to fill in a lot more if we pull back. And it doesn't have to be a lot, just a little bit here. The editing in your image is pretty minimal. As I click back and forth, we can see the little edits. Like there's a line up here that you've edited out. You've adjusted some tonality on the head here. You've taken a purse or something out of the hand and you've adjusted the peeking out of the ear right here. I think that's all the edits that I'm seeing. So pretty minimal, and it's something that seems really appropriate for an image like this. It's not changing the meaning of the image. It's not like overly enhancing the way that the child looks in a weird way. It's just a very natural edit to simplify the image and make us focus even more on the child. The eyes don't seem like they're totally in focus. If we look back here, we can see that we have areas of focus that are sharper. So I think you missed the point of focus just by a bit behind your subject. What are you communicating with this image? It seems like it's just about a childhood and being outside and enjoying being a child and kind of dressing up. And none of that is changed by the edits that you did. And I think that's the best part of this, is that there's a simplicity about the goal of this image, and the edits that you make add to that simplicity. They're not taking anything away from that. The next image that we have is by Christian, and he did a little bit more editing on his subject. So I think, let's see, this is the edited image, and this is the image edited. It doesn't seem like as significantly, but we got to see the metadata. Okay, so a little bit confusing there. But this is the new image that you resubmitted for me because I wanted to see the metadata. So you have your subject and they're sitting outside. It looks like they're just on a trail or something in the woods, but like a manicured woods, right? We have the steps going up. We have cut down logs. We can tell this is taken care of. The light's coming in, it's open shade, it's beautiful light coming across your subject. If we look at the original, we can see that you've enhanced that. You've made it more dramatic. You've warmed it up some. So you're improving the lighting, but you can't improve lighting when you don't start with good lighting. So we can see that you've started with good lighting here, and you've enhanced that and made it a little bit more dramatic. The composition is pretty straightforward, as your subject's just in the center of the frame. He stands out from the background. I know you said you did some editing to create more separation between him and the background. And we can see that here. He's blending in more with the background, but his clothes being blue and this like orange tan color, those alone stand out from the dark colors of the background. So I think you enhanced that again, but you didn't overly do it in a way that feels not authentic to the place where he is. And what are you communicating? It seems like you're on an adventure with this guy. He's filming and you're photographing and you're out in this natural landscape. So that's what I'm getting from this. He's wearing a shirt that has paint all over it. So I feel like he's like a working artist, and that comes through in the image as well. This image to me feels too dramatic. That feels like the edit is a little bit heavy-handed, where here it's a little bit lighter. Those black points aren't pushed as far, right? And the saturation seems a little bit softer. So I think your second image that you turned in and included the metadata is a stronger image here. And then we'll look at Allison's image. So here we have Allison's image, and you can see that this is really pixelated. And then you resubmitted this image, and it's still, actually, I'm not even sure which one. This is the better image, but you can see, especially over here, we can see the pixelation, and we can see that the colors are like dark and then midtones and then There's no smooth gradient happening here, but this is a better image than what you have here, where we're actually seeing the physical pixels. We see the squares happening. And then when you zoom in, we see the pixels even stronger. So here's the first one that you submitted, and we can see each individual square. And then here, it's better, but we can still see the pixelation. So it's still something that needs to be worked on. So we'll take a look starting here, because this is the original image before you edited it. So we notice the light is indoor light, and you said you were using hot lights. I'm curious if you were using any gels on your lights, or why the tonality is so red. Is that a white balance issue, or is that a gel that you wanted to make it so red? The light is also pretty dark. This image needs more light on your subjects. It's not that you're creating a mood with this light, it just feels underexposed. The composition in your image here versus here, I actually think this is a stronger composition, giving her some space to move into. This feels more relaxed as a composition. This feels more forced as a composition. The editing that you've done here, we can see all of these edges, right? So as you've tried to lighten her from the background, we see really hard edges here. So as you're doing your editing, you need to be careful with your selections, and you need to feather your selections. So you need to make sure that you're not having this hard line here. You also need to be exact with your selections. So this piece of hair should not also be changing the backgrounds here. So that's another editing issue that needs to be corrected. And then what are you communicating? It seems like this has to do with Halloween and dressing up. She has a Cheeto shirt on, but she has face painting on, and then she's kind of acting like a cat as she's licking her hand. So it seems playful in that side of it. So there are some major technical things, Allison, that need to be fixed in these images in order for you to be getting full credit. So not only is it the pixelation and the color space that you're working in, as we talked about last week, but I also want you to work on these digital skills so that you can have a better selection and present stronger imagery.